Hey everybody, once again, this is Luke Letty, Brand Development and Marketing Director here at DigiJump. We have a special guest with us today, my sister, Alexis Letty, former collegiate athlete at George Washington University, high school all-star here at New Albany High School, just right down the road. Multiple sport athlete in high school. Just can't really say enough about how proud I am of my sister and everything she's done in her athletic career and in her life. And, just honored to have her here with us today. So thanks for joining us, Lex. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm the better looking sibling, obviously. So I'm really happy to be here today.
That's up for debate. Let's just say that's up for debate. Okay, wasn't ready for that one. All right, let's get into it. Your volleyball career, what kind of really got you interested in, you seldom played at a high level. What got you really into the sport?
I have to give a lot of credit to Pat Lilly. I think he's a big staple here in Southern Indiana for volleyball. He had Catlin Lilly and Alex Lilly, who also played at New Albany, and then they went on to play collegiately as well. And he kind of gave me a lot of private lessons because he saw potential in me. I remember he first pulled me over when I was in 7th grade. And he was like, hey, I want you to try this blocking scheme. Like, this game, you're going to try to block. And I was like, blocking? What is that? Whoa, cool. And then I remember I did it during the game, and I got a block, and Pat Lilly just went, like, wild, like, completely berserk. And I was like, oh, that felt good. Like, yes. And then I kept working with him. And then eventually John Breeding, who coached at New Albany at the time, and he's retired now, but when I was there, he still coached. He started doing privates with me, too, because he saw potential in me. And that's when I realized that, hey, people are having a lot of interest in me, and this could be something that I could do in the future. And it's one of those sports in college that's a full ride usually, so that was definitely tempting.
Yeah, that played a part. So really, it's people investing their time in you and showing that they want the best for you. Really kind of brought you into it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was huge. It was definitely huge for me in my development. Like, I owe Pat Lilly and John Breeding almost everything to my volleyball career, and of course, the coaches that I had in club and there. But Pat Lilly and John Breeding are really what started it all.
Awesome. Well, you just mentioned club. Can you tell me a little bit about your club experience? I know it's different all over the United States and everything. So
I played at Kiva, which is Kentucky Indiana Volleyball Association. I recommend it to everybody. It's like it's the best in the area. I mean, it's one of the best in the countries. I think that every year at least one team in my club wins nationals. I remember trying out my 14s year, and I remember I was definitely not at the level that I am now. And I think that a lot of people didn't expect me to make the team, including some of my family members.
That was me. I'm guilty. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
All on this, I doubted her. I did. And, to, I guess, Lexis's credit and just our family, she said, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I really admire that from you, Lex.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I didn't want to interrupt, but I did want to address that.
Thank you, yeah. But I did have the best trout of my life. I was like, I got a call from them, and I was like, oh, this is not really, how is this happening? And I was jumping up and down screaming. I took a selfie before selfies were a thing. Like, you can make fun of me. I was just like, yes, happy moment, and took it. I remember showing up, and I was the only new person on the team. So everybody had been there previously and played the year before. And that was huge for me. And I think I really got hooked after being at Kiva for 1 year because I had Ron Cordes, who is a huge legend in the Louisville area, coaches at Assumption wins state. Or when I was back in the day, won state like every year, I think 6 years in a row or something outrageous like that. And I remember it was the finals of nationals.
I was down there.
I scored the last point on a block. Pat Lilly on the block. And that was really cool for me. And I just remember that feeling of everybody like coming down and piling up. And like, I chased that feeling all the time. And I still haven't gotten it yet, but it was probably one of the best feelings of my life, like crying tears of joy.
That was a cool moment. I remember that. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
Down in Orlando, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Disney World.
It was fun. It was a really good time. So that's your AAU career, and that was probably in 8th grade, right? Going into your freshman year. So,
going into freshman year.
Can you just give us a little overview of your progression from 8th grade to high school and college, and just kind of see just give us an overview and the highlights that you think are worth mentioning.
Yeah, so I think another coach that really touched my life was Melissa Stark. She's actually my role model. Like, when people ask me if my role model is, it's Melissa Stark. And I think she's a very unusual kind of coach because she pretty much like whips the players but then gives them hugs. I think that's a good way to describe it. She was really hard on everybody, And she really cheered for everybody though when they did what was right. I mean, she would like hound everybody. Me and another girl were the only two people that didn't cry her whole season. I remember I was swimming at the time as well. And I would always come to practice and she'd be like, were you swimming again? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, go touch some walls. So she like made me run. She's like, I thought you were done with swimming. Like, how are you going to want to get a scholarship if you're still swimming? Like this and that. And I really struggled that year. And I think that I would like come in extra hours. I would come in before my school at New Albany. I'd drive all the way to Louisville to get extra training so then I could train and swim and then be a little bit late to volleyball. Because I just really cared about getting better because I didn't want to let my team down by me not being there the whole time. And I think that year I like really stepped up once swimming stopped, and then I had all the time devoted to volleyball because my teammates saw how much effort I put into the sport and how much I was willing to sacrifice to be there for my team. And I actually became one of the captains that year with Melissa, and it was huge for me because, you know, Melissa still talks about me to this day to her teams about, you know, what I went through to be at where I'm at, and kind of talks about like the struggle, I guess. But
putting the work in.
Yeah,
really, that's what it is. It's all about putting that work in and seeing that dedication and persistence pay off.
Yeah, it was fun. I loved it. Like looking back, I'm so glad I went through all that I did because it was rewarding in the end.
Definitely. So that's your high school. So you went through the whole process, the recruiting process. I know they do it a little bit earlier for volleyball.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit of that, and then what kind of made you decide to go to the George Washington University that you're wearing today? Just give us a little bit about your college career, if you wouldn't mind just touching on that.
Okay, yeah. So I started getting letters after we won AAUs going into my freshman year, of course. So pretty much everyone would send a letter. You know, I'd get letters from these big schools and these small schools and who knows what's in between. And so I was like, oh, like, you know, what am I looking for, this and that. Melissa, who was my coach my sophomore year, she started like telling us how to go through the recruiting process, what we wanted to write down, where we wanted to go, like what our top list was. And of course, you know, being a sophomore, my top list was Penn State, you know, Nebraska, Texas, all these schools that are known
for the stars
for winning. And then I started calling coaches because they weren't able to call us yet, so we had to reach out to them if we were interested. And I realized quickly that I was too short for a bunch of these big colleges. I'm about 6'1", so I know to a bunch of people that's not short, but in college, the girls that play my position, they're like 6'4" to 6'6", usually middle blockers. So I was very undersized, so I realized I needed to reevaluate, and I started going on visits. My first visit was to Ohio University, the Bobcats, I think they're in grade school, and that was really cool. It was a small town, you know. I wrote down what I liked and didn't like, and I continued to go different places that seemed interested in me. I would have done things differently. I think I visited 11 schools, which
it's a lot.
Not all of them offered me, so I don't know why I visited 11 schools.
Optimistic.
Yeah. So then I started really writing down what I wanted. You know, I wanted academics. I really cared about, you know, learning and what's going to come after volleyball. And then I wanted something that was in a city because I want to be a game show host one day. Woohoo! So I wanted to make a lot of connections and kind of network with people and stuff like that, and kind of get in the public eye and be able to learn how to talk and crowds and things like that. I
don't think you've done that yet.
Yeah, I'm a little shy.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. So then I realized what I wanted. I visited George Washington. It's in the heart of D.C., 4 blocks away from the White House, walkable, take the metro anywhere. And I was like, like, that was pretty cool. But, you know, all these other schools I still have to visit. I don't know. So GW stayed in the back of my mind. I had a bunch of ticks off my list of what I wanted. And Melissa looked at me and she's like, what's wrong? Like, why are you still going through this process? And I was like, Melissa, I just don't know. Like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, okay, well, let's look at your tick list. Okay, George Washington has most of the ticks on your list. So what's the deal? Like, what's holding you back? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, okay, go visit it again. Go to GW again. So I was like, oh, okay. So I make another unofficial visit my junior year. And, you know, we went out, did the whole
recruiting
thing. And then I was like, yo, I like it here. It's real fun. And so I remember my dad was with me on this trip, and I remember looking at Dad, and I said, after we walked out from the head coach's office, I said, Dad, this is the place. Like, I want to go here. And he said, you better walk right back in there and say it right now before you talk to your mom and she convinces you otherwise.
That's too true. That's a good call.
Yeah, I think my mom wanted me to stay closer to home.
Yeah, as most moms do. That's
true, but your girl needs to get away. I need a freedom. So I was like, okay. So I went back in there and I was like, hey, Mo, I'd love to take the scholarship. She's like, oh, well, okay, cool, woo. And then, I remember calling up people and hopping on a plane to come back. And, yep.
4 years later.
Yeah. Well,
it was 3.5.
Well,
technically.
I was a junior when I committed. So.
Okay, so 5. Let's say 5.
Yeah. So 5 years later. Yeah, it's been great. We got a new coach my junior year. I was actually really nervous, but it turned out to be incredible.
Blessing in disguise.
Oh my gosh, a huge blessing.
They seem to come that way, don't they?
Yeah, I feel like people don't realize how much a college coach and also the players can affect your life. When I first got to college, I just had a completely, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really have any expectations.
Most people don't as incoming freshmen.
I thought it was just supposed to be hard. And that's the way it was supposed to be. I was supposed to deal with stuff. I was a freshman, so I was thinking that I was supposed to always get to the short end of the stick and stuff was supposed to happen. And I got this new coach, and I realized, whoa, that's not how it works.
Not how it always works. Yeah.
You should be loved as a player and feel appreciated and all kinds of things. And my junior year is when my life kind of transformed into Letty again. I go by Letty, not Alexis.
I still call her Lex, so
yeah,
I get that. I reserve that right.
It's my family calls me Alexis, but anybody else, I'm like, nah, you don't know me like that. Like, it's Letty. But yeah, so I really found myself again. I started modeling. I was like, I don't want to be, official sports broadcaster. I want to be something where I can be joking or be like wearing camo pants and reporting on the sidelines. I want to be able to, I do know actually. Be me, but also be doing the thing.
Right.
So yeah, that was a huge year for me, and it still affected my life because I still model, and I'm planning to go out to LA next month. So
yeah, awesome. So you concluded your college career 3 months ago, right?
Yeah.
3 months ago.
In November.
Yep. So about 3 months ago, I know, but you want to tell the people, she just came back from overseas actually on Friday, did a little circuit over there, doing some tryouts for their mid-season volleyball league over there. Do you just want to touch on that and talk about your experience about how it was over there and, all the cool people you met and everything?
Oh, yeah, it was amazing. So I'm considering playing pro volleyball in Europe. And so I booked my trip over to Europe a week before I had to go because that's just the way I live, spontaneously.
Yep.
And so I went over there, met with my agent and a bunch of other girls that are with the agency, and we traveled around through Slovenia, Austria, and Switzerland, playing different teams and kind of getting exposure and understanding what it's like to play pro overseas. And it's nice, but it's not as glamorous as it seems. So people are like, oh, you get this and that and this. And, some of the girls talk about how it's lonely because, some places you're at, a lot of people don't speak English. And so you're relying on another American there, or you're relying on the girls to also speak English, or the pay is not super high all the time. And you actually don't have all the time in the world to travel. It's different by club. So we really got the experience, and it was the heart of winter, so we were experiencing the cold.
Yep.
But it really wasn't too bad most places. There's one place where they're like, if they recruited me there, I'd be like, no, in a heartbeat. Oh, I can't do that.
It's too cold.
Oh, yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. My skin was crying. It didn't have tears to cry because it was too dry, but, you get the point.
I got you.
Yeah. But that was really cool, and it made me realize that I think a lot of players in D1 can go and play overseas professionally. The play over there is a little bit different. Like the middle blockers, which is what I am, usually go and serve. Like a libero doesn't serve for them, and the outsides have to play all the way around. I think they only have 6 subs in like European play, and then in the U.S. I think we have like 20 or something crazy like that. Yeah. So it's a little bit different in that way, but I loved it. I actually changed my flight to stay an extra 2 weeks.
Surprise.
The last people we played was I had a friend on the team. She was in Switzerland around the Zurich area, and I stayed with her for a week and trained with her team, and that was really cool. I loved it. It was super fun and eye-opening to what they do, and I lifted with them. I went
trained with them.
So, yeah. I mean, I trained with them, and then I flew over to the UK to visit another friend who plays in Newcastle, and I trained with her and her team, and it's a lot more low-key over there. I think they really value people's bodies. And
what do you mean by that?
Well, in college they kind of push you until you're like starting to deteriorate and you feel like a 60-year-old woman by the end.
Okay.
Or man, whatever sport you do. But in pro, they kind of, take things easier and slower, and like, how's your body feel? You feel good today? Oh, we'll take this day because we want you guys to rest, or this and that. And I was like, whoa, like,
that's nice.
Yeah, this is great. Like, me and Jess, the person I was staying with in Switzerland, we would wake up at like noon and, go lift, maybe come back, take another nap, and then go to practice, and then if we wanted to go do something at night, go do something at night because we could sleep in the next day. It was nice.
Different lifestyle.
Different lifestyle. That's
okay.
For sure.
Awesome. So sounds like a good experience. What do you really like about volleyball or in athletics in general? Like, why do you want to continue to play?
Yeah.
A lot of people are either burnt out or they have injuries that don't allow them to continue playing. What makes you want to continue being in athletics?
Well, if you had the opportunity, why wouldn't you take it?
Right.
That's kind of my mindset. Also, I've learned so many life lessons through sports. I am the person who I am today because I've been through heck and back with sports. But I mean, they've taught me everything I know, and they've made me who I am today. And so I kind of owe it all to that. And I want to push myself more to do something in a different country, to get outside my comfort zone. I'm like a big advocate for get comfortable being uncomfortable. And so by going overseas and putting yourself in that situation, definitely a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Definitely something new. And I'd love to have the experience. I'd love to have it under my belt. And also great credentials for being a game show host.
Of course. So, you keep alluding to game show hosts going out to LA. What are you kind of just, I know you don't like to plan too far out in advance, and that's just because I've lived with you so long. But what are your future plans? You can just give us 2-3 months out, because that's pretty far out for you. 2 3 months out.
Okay.
That's pretty far for you.
That is pretty far. Like, I'm a week by week kind of girl. If you know me, which he knows because I literally just booked my ticket to New York next week.
Last night.
Yep, last night. Yep. So right now I'm planning to go out to LA. I'll pack my bags with volleyball stuff because in March, March is when it's mid-season for the Philippines. So if there's an injury in the Philippines, my agent could call me and tell me they need me right now, so I could just go right then and there. And also, I pack it for, right before, around September is when the actual season starts for volleyball. So I'd have all my stuff out there. I'd probably come back to Indiana before that, though, because, family wants to say bye and all that good stuff.
Yep. Mom will make it.
Oh yeah. So I pretty much plan on going out there, making connections, doing little skits and videos. I'm gonna probably take acting classes and voice lessons. Get it all in there. Yeah, he did that because I've actually sang in like middle school and it was rough, but you gotta try again. Yeah. So I'm just gonna throw myself in there. I'm gonna be doing everything. I'll probably.
Getting comfortable being uncomfortable again.
Yeah. I'll probably work like some waitressing jobs to make extra money and do the whole LA thing because why not?
Right, that's right. Why not do it when you're young?
Yeah. I can do it for a few years, and then after that, I need to
strap it on.
Yeah.
Well, Lex, seriously, I know you're like you said, you're always flying by the seat of your pants. So I'm thankful that you got to come in here and check out kind of Digi Jump and what we're doing, and just spend some time talking with us. So I really appreciate everything you're doing, Lex. And obviously, as your brother, I want to give you the best of luck going forward. And any support I can give you, I love you, and I'll do it for you. So,
Aww.
thanks again for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a great day. Okay.